After a disastrous roofing business automation, staying true to my promise, I'm providing you the template that I am using in my automation. Regardless if you're hiring us or if you're going with someone else, you just need to have an understanding of how the workflows work and what goes into it. This is the template that I'm using, and it divides into multiple boxes: business, product and service, channels, staff, vendors, governmental, and customers. Typical business sense, when you are creating the business, of course, you want to think about the customer first. But for the workflow design, you want to put the customer on the bottom because you want to understand the products and services and everything that comes within the office work before you start addressing the customer needs. This particular example, we're going to be using it as a property management and property maintenance company. Put the name right here. We're going to put as products and services property management, and then we're going to have rentals. When you think about this concept of products and services, you want to separate them. Let's say you have a property. It doesn't matter if the property is vacant or occupied. You still need to do the landscaping. You still have to take the trash out, file the taxes. This is why you create the subcategories, because you are going to be creating different pipelines and different workflows. There are multiple concepts that you have to think about. When I'm talking about CRM, and it doesn't matter if you're using Go High Level or Zoho, or if you're using a property management software, for example, like Buildium, what happens is you have your physical business, and then you setting up those CRMs and property management softwares as a virtual office that connects to your customers. Channels, that's reference to channels of communication. I'm connecting different channels, how customers and vendors and everybody else outside of our company can communicate with us. So for instance, you see you have a .com, set up a website. Then you have 401, reference to a phone line where customer can call you and send SMS. Then you have a Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, the channels of communication, right? This is your interface between you and the customers. You want to make sure that the customers can communicate with you with no friction points. Okay, next on our list is staff. I separated them into the office and maintenance. Next on our template list are vendors. So in the skilled labor, you're going to have roofers, you're going to have plumbers, electricians, and then in professional, you're going to have legal, bookkeeping, CPA. Now let's go over governmental. And then municipal, state, and federal. For example, for municipal, you need to pull a permit. So you're going to have a workflow for that. For the state, you registered LLC, and every single year you have to file for a renewal. So that's going to have a workflow that reminds you to do it. For the federal, you want to pay taxes, you want to pay them on time. There's another workflow that you can implement within your company. And then in the customers. So since we are talking about property management, it's not just the tenants. You will also have property owners. So if somebody wants to hire you as a company to service their building, you need a completely separate workflow than for the tenant. I also put the neighbors. They're not your customers. Why are they there? Well, if you are doing any exterior work and you are removing any exterior that might have lead, some states require you to send notifications to residents and property owners within a certain distance to your house. So for that reason, being proactive and creating the workflows to automate that particular aspect might cover your legal exposure. And then when it comes to the customers, it's sitting in its own bucket, because it's very important to start understanding this concept of customer life cycle. If we're talking about the tenant, filling out the form online, on Facebook, or calling in because they've seen your ad online and they want to schedule an appointment. Once the appointment is scheduled, there's going to be a separate workflow if the customer showed up or there's no show. As a company owner, you decide if you are going to give the person who did not show up a second chance to reschedule, or if you're going to say, okay, this is not a good candidate. Once the person moves in, there's going to be a workflow for maintenance requests. Then at the end of the life cycle, the tenant is either going to stop paying the rent or they're going to give you a notice that they're going to be moving out. There's going to be a separate workflow. Once you start seeing the workflows as a smaller steps in the communication and the tasks, it will help you to organize your company and start making sense of what automation is. At this point, we covered every single section. And as you can see, all the way in the bottom, I have workflows. The reason I work in this structure is that I want to understand what the business is, what kind of services they are providing, who are the customers. Now you can see how your business operates before applying workflows. For example, the legal department needs to be notified once the workflow of application is complete. If the tenant is moving in and they're filling out the maintenance request, which office, which department, which skilled labor receives those notifications as well. So once you grasp that concept of putting this visual on the board, as a developer, you will start to understand how to create those workflows. And if you're a customer who is looking for automation, my goal is to explain to you the steps that are necessary, because at this point, there's no copy-paste solution for property management company or for any business. Because think about it, like let's say you are a roofing company. Is the roof flat or is it pitched? Are they using shingles or are they using metal? So if your roofing company does not provide the metal roofing, then we're not going to include it, right? So again, for that reason, there's no copy-paste, but there is this template that you can use that's going to help you to automate the business, understand how automation works. Let me know if you found this explanation and the workflow automation chart useful. If you feel something was overlooked or the chart requires additional blocks, please reach out. We're dedicated to discovering the most optimal and efficient ways to automate small businesses. Visit chatbotfarm.ai to explore the automation and AI tools available in your industry and get in touch for a free, no obligation business automation consultation. This has been Oleg with chatbotfarm.ai. Have a good day.